Thanks for having me, everyone. Actually, Jason asked me to speak last week, and I had only started at Tilt last Monday, so I didn't have very many challenges that I kind of embraced just yet. So Jason, being the clever soul that he is, suggested that I speak about getting a job at Tilt. So I know some of you are founders, and some of you already have jobs, but to the extent that you're looking for a job in the tech space, transition into the tech space, or just from a view of what a founder, sometimes you lose sight of what it's like to hire people and what it looks like on the other side. So hopefully I can shed some light on that. I didn't realize tonight that Tony was a sponsor, and you'll see in a second why I feel bad. But let's just start this off with what's wrong with lawyer jokes. Lawyers don't think they're funny, and other people don't think they're jokes. What's the difference between a lawyer and a catfish? One's a scum-sucking bottom dweller, and the other's a fish. And of course, entering hell, if you don't have an attorney, we've got millions of them. And I start off this way because I used to be a lawyer, and so I can make these jokes, but it's important to think that people always have a perception of who you are. And when you enter into the job market, people are going to perceive you as someone that represents everything that you're about, and whether that's on paper or in person. It's important to know that you're fighting that perception, especially if you're trying to transition into a new space. So let's talk about all these different things quickly. And I made a long presentation, so I'm going to breeze through it pretty quickly. Who was I? Who are you? Who do you really want to be? Let's talk about some game planning, what my process was for getting a job at Tilt. Now what? What's Tilt all about? And then hopefully, if we have time, lessons to learn. So who is I? I graduated from Ivy in law in 2009. I became a corporate lawyer in the summer at Mayor Brown, and then at Davies, which is just across the way over there, a top corporate firm in the city. I also co-founded a company called Ontario Law Exam while I was at Davies, which helps sell practice exams to kids that are in graduating law school, or adults that are graduating law school, and practicing to write the bar exams. When we wrote the bar exams, we realized that there was no practice materials out on the market. So we developed some questions with a couple teachers. We update them every year, and we sell them online, and they sell like hotcakes, which is good for business. I put up that I'm in a fraternity, which is kind of funny because most people give me trouble for having been a frat boy. But funny enough, when I interviewed with a lot of different tech companies and startups, they actually love the fact that I was in a fraternity, especially Tilt, for reasons that will become apparent later. But they saw things like camaraderie or building friendships with new people as things that were really important when you have an open workspace and a small team. So don't always think that things on your resume get overlooked. It's important to kind of sell your story a little bit. And same thing with golf. I've often thought that people at my law firm were like, oh great, he's a good golfer. Like, we'll throw him out with some clients when we have a tournament or something along those lines. But when I interviewed with a bunch of tech startups, going through the process, they actually saw it as something that you're really committed to, that you're willing to work hard at. And they thought that that's actually a really good character trait. And they were willing to look beyond the fact that you're just a good golfer. So who are you? So these are things to consider when you're recruiting for a new job. These are all going to shape your story, and when you come in, people really think about these things when they're interviewing you. And you might not think that these represent you, but they really do. So what did you study in school? When you turn on your computer in the morning, you get to your desk, what websites do you go to? Do you go to ESPN? Do you go to TechCrunch? Do you go to Mashable? What are you looking at in the morning? Blogs, same thing. What books are you reading? When I interviewed, I got probably 90% of the interviews I went through, people asked me what book I had just read. So if you're looking to interview in the tech space, then you should be reading books about the tech space. Peter Thiel's 0 to 1 is unbelievable. I just finished it. Are you a self-starter? Are you a team player? How committed are you? Startups want people that are committed to their cause. And it's important to sell them on that factor, that you're really committed to making sure the startup is going to be a success. It's not come in, punch the clock, leave at 5 and get out of there. It's come in and really think hard about making the startup a success. What are your salary expectations? Very important. When we interview people now at Tilt, we've been interviewing all week for our country manager job in the UK. As soon as someone asks how much money are we going to make, we basically dump them off the phone. That's pretty much a non-starter for us. It's not about the money, it's about the opportunity, and we can go from there. And then what are your true life priorities? You think it's cool to work for a startup, but what are your actual true life priorities? So right now, you really have to think about career focus for generalization. It used to be, can you be jack of all trades? Is that good? Or should be a master of one? And now we're looking to hiring people to be a master of all trades. 1 minute left. I want to be there. Who do you really want to be? Define your success. What does killing it look like for you? What work environment will you succeed in? What is your life risk profile? And what role do you really want to play on a team? These are game plan strategies for getting a job at a startup. Read job descriptions. I didn't really know what I wanted to do until I read job descriptions about what I wanted to do. Meet with literally anyone, but meet with successful people and meet with people that are in roles that you're interested in. Personal network, abuse your personal network as much as possible. Maintain a log, keep track of who you're meeting with. Attack all different kinds of opportunities from different angles. Read books and blogs on the topics that are important, and show them they need you, and be bold. And most importantly for Tilt, especially when people apply to us, we ask them, have you used Tilt? Why are you applying to a job if you haven't used the service or the product? Use the product, use the service, understand it. I live, eat, and breathe Tilt on a daily basis. If you're coming to meet with me, you better know all about it. I'll just go for a quick, before I get to questions. This was my process for meeting with people. So we had a phone screen, we went with team members, I had a 30, 60, 90 plan, met the COO, this is over like 2 to 3 months. So you better be invested in the job that you're looking to work for. Now I'll just quickly talk about Tilt. So what's our mission? Our mission is to help groups of people pool their money to make amazing things happen. We've raised 35 mil in San Fran. We have a team of about 50 there. We have 4 people here in Canada. We have partnerships with ESPN. Thank you, Alex. The Jamaican bobsled team tilted their campaign to go to Sochi and all different kinds of things. We're doing a lot of things in Toronto. We tilted a subway streetcar and had a party on one. We're going to tilt the ACC soon, so if you want to come skate around the ACC, keep in touch on that. And if you guys want to use Tilt, use the promo code TOTECH up until the end of January, and we'll add $25 free to whatever you want to raise money for. Thank you very much. We'll get to some questions. Also, to incentivize you to ask really easy questions, I brought Tilt t-shirts, so I'll throw one at you if you give me a lob. Go ahead. Sorry? You're going to share the presentation with us? Sure, I can happy to send it to Jason, and then he'll, sorry, it's on YouTube, there you go. Here's your t-shirt. Boom. Next. Sir in the back. That's a good question. I worked really hard to get to the offer stage, and by the time I got there, I was just so elated to get the offer that I took it right away. There is negotiation, I'd say, on the kind of salary equity portion, but a lot of these roles are, I'm a growth manager at Tilt, and there's already growth managers in the US, so it's gonna be somewhere around that level of what they're getting paid in the US. You're not gonna get disproportionately more or less than that individual, so you're kind of stuck with that. If it's a new role, I would definitely negotiate for as much equity as possible if that's what you're going for. I'm very excited about Tilt, so I'd like as much equity in Tilt, and I can survive without the salary as long as I pay my rent and take my girlfriend to the odd dinner or two. Yeah. Unrelated question. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, so I'm a co-founder. Tilt prefers that I'm not doing day-to-day operations, but I have 2 partners, and they take care of most of the heavy lifting. But yeah, we still run it, and it's very seasonal, so it runs, most people write the bar exam in June every year. We do have some off June periods, March, and I believe it's November, so it's a little less busy. But if you want to talk about Ontario law exam, I can still talk about that. Okay, next.
Yeah, how did you guys decide, and I love the platform and the website, it's great. Why did you guys decide to do kind of smaller projects for the average person as opposed to these large ones?
Yeah, so we think we're like the 3rd horse to this whole crowdfunding craze. There's Indiegogo, there's Kickstarter, and then us. We think the majority of the population isn't writing a $60,000 novel that they need funding for, or starting a movie, or creating the Pebble watch. most people are raising money for things that they're doing on an everyday basis. They want to go to the cottage with their friends. They want to go on a bachelor party. They want to do things in a group, and it's the organizer's pain points that we're looking to solve. So if you're an organizer and you're having, a troubling time collecting money from your hockey teammates for your team, we think our platform helps a lot more with that. Then we're not so much focused on people raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we think our platform is going to be used hundreds of thousands more times than a Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but on bite-size opportunities. Here's your T-shirt. Yeah, last one. Soapbox.
How did you overcome lack of, functional experience in growth business development, given your launch? Where do you stand on having been there, done that, versus will versus skill again?
Yeah, very difficult. First thing is, when I started to apply for jobs, you just get shunned right away. They say, we're not really that interested in an MBA or a lawyer or, someone that's got a fully developed education but doesn't have very much practical experience. So throughout the 3-month interview process is really where I tried to impress on them that, yes, I used to be a lawyer, but I've started a company on my own. I do have some other experience. Let me show you what I can do for you throughout the interview process. And luckily, our country manager in Toronto is a great guy, because he hired me. He took a stance that they weren't really looking for people that had necessarily the experience he was looking for, but were capable of taking Tilt and showing it to the masses. So finally, after a long time of interviewing with him, I think I sold him on the concept that I could sell the product, and it didn't matter that I was, a formal lawyer in a previous life. So thank you very much.